Hello again. Yep, once again those kind folk at Streetbike in Halesowen have been nice enough to lend me a new electric motorcycle to try, and this time I'm riding the Zero 2020 S. And the thing about this one, it's 11 kilowatt learner legal. Let's go and have a look. Okay, let's do the usual walk around and talk around we do on these videos and run through some of the specifications. The Zero S is Zero's naked street bike model. The 11 kilowatt version, the 11 kilowatt denoting continuous motor power, makes it a learner legal motorcycle. So in the UK, the bike can be ridden from the age of 17 with L plates in the whole of the UK, or D plates in Wales, or on a full A1 licence. It's one of the range of three 11 kilowatt learner legal bikes offered by Zero: the Zero S, DS and FXS. To summarise the three 11 kilowatt bikes offered by Zero, the Zero S is the bike we're looking at in this video. The DS is the dual sport version with larger wheels and knobbly tyres for mixed on-off road applications, and the FXS is the supermoto model I rode in my last Zero test ride video. Right, let's go through some of the main physical specifications, and for the sake of brevity I'm staying with metric for these. Key dimensions are a wheelbase of 1410mm and a seat height of 807mm, with a rake of 24 degrees and a trail of 80mm. Curb weight is 185 kilograms and carrying capacity is 166 kilograms. Stock tyres are the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2 on both the front and rear 17-inch wheels. Brakes are, as usual, J. Juan disc brakes with Bosch Generation 9 ABS. The suspension comprises 41mm inverted cartridge forks to the front and 40mm piston piggyback reservoir shock to the rear, with adjustable spring preload, compression and rebound damping to both. Suspension travel is 159mm on the front and 161mm on the rear. The motor is the now established Z-Force passively air-cooled brushless motor. Obviously there are pros and cons to air versus liquid motor cooling, but my own experience of Zero DSR ownership since 2016 with the same kind of motor is that motor temperature has not been an issue at all. Final drive is the standard Zero Polychain HTD carbon belt. This particular Zero S has the 7.2 kWh battery fitted, but the battery capacity can be doubled to a 14.4 kWh battery. On this 7.2 kWh battery version, with the 1.3 kW onboard charger, a full charge would take around 5 hours. With the 14.4 kWh battery, it would take around 10 hours. The bike uses the Zero SDS platform's Cypher 2 operating system, which I've covered before, but in essence allows you to select from one of three riding modes: Eco, Sport and Custom. Any owner is likely to use Custom mode, and I certainly do with my own Zero DSR. Custom mode is configured via Bluetooth using the Zero app, and allows the rider to configure choices of maximum speed, maximum torque, natural regenerative braking level, that is to say the amount of motor braking applied when the throttle is closed, and brake regenerative braking level, which is the amount of regenerative braking applied by the brake lever before the physical brakes are applied. As with the whole Zero range, there is a storage compartment where the fuel tank would ordinarily reside on a petrol motorcycle, and this is a handy location to store things away. However, as with the other SDS platform bikes, it doesn't come fitted with the two USB charge ports included on the SRF and SRS models. It does, however, have the rubberized piped seal, which means that you can pass a lead through from a charge bank situated in the storage area to power, say, a phone or camera mounted to the handlebars. In common with the other Zero bikes, this storage space is lost when an optional charge tank or power tank is fitted. On the subject of storage space, with the 7.2 kWh battery, the space that would otherwise be consumed by the full 14.4 kWh capacity monolith is accessible through a key-locked panel and can be used for additional storage. Sadly, I neglected to get any footage of this, but it would provide a reasonable amount of extra space for carrying items. Okay, that's enough looking around the bike. Let's get her on the road and see how she fares. Well, straight away there's no sense of lack of power in this bike of the kind you'd associate with a 125cc petrol bike. That's the immediate thing that strikes you. I rode throughout this ride with my standard real-world style of riding so as to give an accurate reflection of the bike's capabilities, and I genuinely didn't find it wanting at all. The handling is smooth and the suspension was absolutely spot on for me. The slightly smaller frame and lower seat than my Zero DSR didn't cause me any issues either. There's really not much I can say about any niggles in terms of the ride. As mentioned on previous videos, I can only reassure those who've never ridden electric that the Zero range at least is weighted absolutely fine. There's no top heaviness, the battery is mounted where the engine would be mounted on a petrol bike, and so the handling is pretty much identical. The battery has the standard Zero 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. Battery capacity can be expanded through installation of a power tank, which extends capacity by an additional 3.6 kilowatt hours. You might have noticed that all these capacity figures are multiples of 3.6. The reason for that is that the battery configurations are combinations of 3.6 kilowatt hour bricks, which are epoxy sealed sets of 28 Farasis pouch cells. The charge tank, which decreases the time it takes to charge through a J1772 socket from a level 2 fast charger, can be added to the 7.2 kWh battery version of the Zero S, but this cannot be used in conjunction with the onboard charger, since the combined charge rate, that is 6.5 kilowatts from the charge tank and 1.3 kilowatts from the onboard charger, would give a combined 7.8 kilowatts and exceed the 1C maximum charge rate. Trying to do this wouldn't damage the bike, it would just display a fault code and ramp back the charge rate. Nevertheless, a 7.2 kWh battery with a usable 6.3 kWh capacity would be capable of fully charging within an hour from a level 2 AC fast charger. But why would you opt for a 7.2 kWh version over a 14.4 kWh version with twice the range? Well, if you're price conscious, you're primarily interested in a commuting bike, and your round trip to and from work, like for the vast majority of people, is under 50 miles, or if you have the possibility to charge at work and your combined commute to and from work is under 100 miles, the 7.2 kWh battery version comes in at £10,045 on the road. The larger 14.4 kWh battery version comes in at £12,745. Prices are based on Streetbike's price at the time of filming and after the government grant. Right, let's just try turning the road. See how it is for slow riding in tight circles. Oh, the van coming. No, it's not there. No, he's reversing. Okay, let's try it. There, it's all throttle and rear brake. That's full lock. It's quite nice actually. Let's try it in the context of this road. No, can't get around that. It's too ambitious. It's full lock. Okay, let's try again here though. Just full lock. Now. Throttle. Rear brake and throttle. Yeah. It's quite a nice tight turning circle. And it is just all about, like I say, throttle, rear brake control. Right, let's go. Now let's talk a little bit about power. The motor's net torque is 78 pounds-feet or 106 Nm in the 7.2 kWh battery version and 80 pounds-feet or 109 Nm in the battery 14.4 kWh version. While motor net power is 44 horsepower, that's 33 kilowatts, and 59 horsepower or 44 kilowatts respectively. So the bigger 14.4 kWh battery does up the torque and power. But there is only 3 pound-feet or 4 Nm difference in torque between the lowest spec 7.2 kWh battery 11 kilowatt bike I'm riding here and the standard model Zero S bike. The difference in motor power and torque between the 11 kilowatt and standard Zero S in 14.4 kWh battery configurations is 1 horsepower or 1 kilowatt and 1 pound-foot or 1 Nm respectively. There's nothing in it in those terms. Although the 11 kilowatt version is speed limited to 86 miles per hour, that's 139 kilometers per hour, compared to 95 miles per hour or 153 kilometers per hour on the standard version. Not that that should concern anyone on UK roads. A quick explanation for those who perhaps haven't seen any other videos where I've ridden the 11 kilowatt Zeros. When it comes to power limits for learner riders, internal combustion engine or petrol motorcycles are rated on maximum power, whereas electric motorcycles are rated on continuous power. To summarise the difference, maximum power is the absolute maximum that a drivetrain can produce, whereas continuous power is the amount of power which can be sustained continuously over a period of 30 minutes. How this translates to everyday riding is poles apart. I can't help thinking that at some point this loophole may be closed, as the 11 kilowatt Zero's power delivery is so much better than that of the standard 125cc petrol bike. You really have to experience it for yourself. For my part, and it might be a controversial opinion to some, especially given my voluntary activities as an advanced motorcycling observer, or trainer to use common parlance, I've never been convinced of restricting motor power to learners. It's perfectly easy to be killed on a 125cc motorcycle, but it makes motorcycle ownership even more costly to have to change bikes as a young rider. There's something to be said for learning to handle and respecting the power of a bigger bike from the off, which is in any case what many do when they're learning on a borrowed bike with a riding school. Essentially, I think we should ensure that people can physically handle a powerful bike before they're even allowed on a road. I'm not the only one to think that some of the advanced riding techniques should be incorporated into early riding skills, and the trade-off could be that a rider must exhibit excellent bike handling and control skills before being allowed anywhere near a public road. The introduction of the CBT and 2-module practical test, with module 1 undertaken off the public road, has at least reduced the likelihood of the chance of someone with a poor grasp of motorcycle control from being unleashed on the public highway. But I still encounter people who have never learnt or have lost the ability to slow ride or come to a controlled stop. Perhaps then it's time to consider a tightening of standards before someone is allowed onto the road. But once they have exhibited excellent bike control, they could be allowed to ride any bike. Maybe the limitations of L plates would still prevent them from carrying passengers or riding solo on motorways, and perhaps other restrictions might be applied. I reiterate, that's a personal opinion and not representative of any advanced riding organisation or club to which I belong. And I'm quite happy to be persuaded otherwise, although looking at raw stats based on casualties from 50 years ago compared to today isn't really a fair comparison, as many other aspects of safety have improved in the meantime. But I digress. The point I'm emphasising is that the power delivery of an 11 kilowatt electric motorcycle such as this Zero S is far more impressive than that of a 125cc petrol bike, and this makes it a more attractive option for long-term ownership after the L plates have gone. So, for anyone looking for a cheaper way into electric motorcycling and a bike which could save money in fuel and servicing costs on their commute, I'd give serious consideration to the 11 kilowatt Zero S. Even if you only use it while you're learning but then decide to sell it on, I suspect there'll be a ready second-hand market keen to dip its toe into electric motorcycling. I was very much impressed by the 11 kilowatt Zero S, as indeed I was with the 11 kilowatt Zero FXS. Again, if you're interested in finding out for yourself, get in touch with your local Zero dealership, and if you're anywhere near Birmingham, I can only recommend you reach out to the folk at Streetbike in Halesowen, whom I'd once again like to thank for the opportunity to take another Zero out for a spin. Right then, we left with 58 miles on the odometer, we're now on 104 miles. So we've done just shy of 50, done 46 miles. And it reckons we've got 4.7 miles left on the gasometer, 6% left on the battery. So yeah, pretty much 50 miles there. I've only just switched it into eco in the last sort of minute or so I was riding. The rest of the time it's all been custom mode. Right, well that's your lot for now. Once again, thanks for watching, and hopefully we can do this again soon.